Hello everyone, welcome to part two of our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu etiquette series. And if you haven't seen the first one, please go to our YouTube channel, Valores Training Center, and check that one out first. Hello everyone, I'm Mark Entrata, 47 years old, and a first degree black belt under the legendary Professor Cabrina Charles. And in today's video, I will break down, I'm actually splitting this into two parts. Etiquette. First one is etiquette during class, and then the second part will be etiquette during positional sparring and sparring. Now, why are these things very important? Remember, jiu-jitsu, a big part of jiu-jitsu training is the social aspect. And if you keep breaking these etiquette rules, then don't be surprised if a lot of people eventually won't like you, won't want to train with you, won't even want to hang out with you. Really just will alienate you and get tired of your entitled butt. So let us begin with the etiquette during class. So for the first etiquette rule during class training is, well, really just address your coaches the way they want to be addressed, or even in how things are done in the jiu-jitsu community as a whole. Most academies these days really call black belts their professors, mostly if they're a teaching black belt. Okay, so if that's how they do it in your academy, then I would highly suggest that you do the same. Now, if you're one of these people who go, oh, that's so cultish, or Craig Jones and what's this, John Danaher, they don't want to be called professors. Yeah, those guys are exception to the rule. Now, if you don't want to follow, then go ahead. But this will also signal to the other students that, hey, look at this lower belt, look at this white belt, look at this blue belt, or whatever belt you are, acting like he is even better or he's at par with the coaches. Man, have you been to school? Have you tried calling your teacher by his or her first name? And if ever you did, then of course, how do you think they reacted? Or if you haven't, how do you think they're gonna react? They're probably gonna send you to the principal's office. Now, since you're such a rebel and you're so smart, try calling the principal by his or her first name. Let's see what happens. In every successful organization, group, there will always be hierarchies because this isn't Lord of the Flies. Now, if you didn't get the reference, see, you should have stayed in school before you did too much jujitsu. So that's the first one. Second, don't record unless it is allowed by the coaches or the instructors. Ask first. There's nothing wrong if you ask. If they allow it, cool. If they don't, then be respectful. Third one, no talking while the instructor is showing techniques, giving instructions, and all these things. It shows respect. Okay. Why? Because it also distracts the whole class, especially your instructor. Trust me, we know who is chit-chatting while we're busy or while we're focused teaching your teammates how to do a certain technique. Whatever it is you want to talk about, wait after the class or wait during the first water break or whatever. Just don't do it while the teacher is talking. This also includes making side comments, unless sometimes when I teach, it's very interactive. So I would joke around. I would ask, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" Or, "Oh, have you guys seen this?" So that's fine. But if you just keep interjecting, I remember before we had this white belt student who really thought he was all that. Again, white belt, first class, not his attitude, not first class. I mean, during his first class, he would keep making side comments while I was teaching. Side comments that he thought were actually funny. Side comments that he thought were the first time we've heard in a jiu-jitsu academy. The typical ha 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 BJJ. I never heard that before, bro. So just keep your mouth shut. Okay? And the last one, oh, not even the last one. So the next one is do the techniques as shown by your instructors. Okay? Because I know there's a lot of access to different instructors because of social media, because of online learning, because of BJJ fanatics. Now, getting knowledge or having access to knowledge is very easy. And the problem with this is sometimes some of you white belts and lower belts think that you're actually better now than the black belt who's teaching. Now, maybe what he was teaching wasn't the best way. It happens. Sometimes instructors teach what works for them, but sometimes it's really not the best for the other student or for his students. It happens. But again, just to show respect, please just do it the way they show it. Now, if that's not your thing and you have different details to do that, save that for the positional spar. But during the repetition, during the breaking down of the techniques, when you're because this also shows your partners. Let's say you're partnered up with someone, okay, then your partner's gonna go, oh, but I don't think that's how. Let's just talk about, let's say, armbar from the Coast Guard. Oh, I don't think that's how coach showed us the armbar. Then you're gonna be like, no, man, it's cool. I saw this on Instagram. It was there. So now, what kind of culture are you trying to eventually have or affect? That, oh, hey, no need to listen to this guy. Let's just watch YouTube. Let's just watch. Good luck with that. See, it signals disrespect, especially if the other higher belts see you not doing what was being shown. Now they're gonna be like, oh, okay, look at this guy, thinking he's better than all of us. Then you become unlikable. Next one is don't instruct your partners too much. I see this all the time, or not all the time, but I've seen this happen where, especially if both of you are white belts, instead of, oh no, you do this, your partner's probably gonna go like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were also a black belt, just wearing a white belt. Well, I thought we were both white belts here. Let's face it, people have egos. And let's face it, people want instruction from authority because they know that, well, this person is wearing a black belt, most probably because he worked hard for it. And more often than not, yes, that is correct. But there are frauds out there. But anyway, so you're going to be quite annoying to your partner because he or she's going to go, wait, why is this? And sometimes, believe me, some of the things you're teaching or correcting is actually wrong also. So better yet, how do we do it? Just raise your hand and clarify with your instructors, especially if you're training with a higher belt. Now, the higher belt sometimes also make mistakes with the details and whatnot. Instead of correcting the higher belt, when it's your turn to do the technique and do the repetitions, just raise your hands and ask the coach, Coach, I'm so sorry, or professor, whatever. I kind of forgot how to do it, even if you remembered how. Because now, the higher belt, who's your training partner, will see how it should be done. So you didn't have to correct them. Does that make sense? Remember, guys, my goal here is to not ruffle feathers, especially not the higher belts, not the because it's a community. It's still a group of people with emotions. And these are some of the safest bets. So you do not become that annoying, know it all, feeling smart and funny, white belt or whatever belt you are. So those are some of the suggestions I have for jiu-jitsu etiquette during training, or sorry, during the class instruction. Now we'll move on to the positional sparring and sparring portion. Okay, so now this is part two. So it's going to be positional sparring and sparring etiquette. So the first one, positional sparring. Positional sparring usually has basic rule set that, to make everything a little bit more simple and controlled. So let's say we're doing a side control positional drill. The person on the bottom, all he can do is really just recover the guard. Okay, while the person on top can't go for submissions, but the only thing he can do is get the mount. But let's say you're the one on top. You're getting frustrated because you couldn't get the mount. So you start, attacking the arm, the Americanas, the Kimuras, the paper cutter choke, or whatever techniques you have from Senki. Then you are not following the rule set. This pretty much gets very annoying for your training partners. Now, on to the sparring. The first two ones are going to be closely related. I mean, there's some type of relation, but the first one is don't record, don't video your sparring unless both of you agree to it. And it's mostly because you want to know more about your game and what you need to improve on. But what really happens is this. Most of the time, people love to record so they can post on social media, yeah? Especially if they go against higher belts. I remember before we had this student, big strong guy. What he would do is, so this is related. So the second one is, this is also why normally we do not allow lower belts to ask higher belts to roll. I know this is some type of contention in a lot of other jiu-jitsu circles. Oh my god, that's so outdated, they're insecure, whatever. Okay, if you do that in your academy, great. I have more than 150 students, so it's working for me, these rule sets. So that's why I'm here sharing. Okay, if it's not for you, especially if you're like a white belt, blue belt, lower belt, then if they allow it in your academy, then go ahead. But normally, we do not allow it because, see, and this has something to do with recording of the video, or sorry, video recording of the spar. So what happens is this. So I'll tell you. So I'm gonna hit two birds with one stone. This story. So there's this big guy, new student, not really new at that time. Probably, oh yeah, still relatively new. So what he would do is he would watch me spar 3 to 4 rounds straight. So that's around 15 to 20 minutes of sparring, and he would rest. So, or maybe he'd go one round just to kind of warm up. Then the moment he sees that I'm tired, like a wounded gazelle for him, then he would approach me and go, "Hey, coach, let's spar, man." So, me being the nice guy, at least before, like, yeah, man, sure, why not? Then he would start recording. And you know what he would do? He would splice up the videos and really just show parts where he escaped my triangle, he almost passed me, I wasn't able to sweep him during this attempt, but he wouldn't post the whole video where I ended up choking him, I ended up sweeping him, I ended up getting his arm, which is expected, of course. A lot of people really record to feed their ego. And come on, man, this is a wake-up call for you too. You're insecure if this is what you do. People normally record their training sessions because they want to see what they need, so they can show their coaches coach, see, what am I doing wrong here? What can I improve? That's why you record. And that's why also, normally, we do not allow lower belts to ask higher belts to roll, because also, let's face it, there are a lot of people with malicious intent, with ego-driven intent. Can we stop pretending that every guy who does jiu-jitsu has no malicious intent? And now you're going to gaslight people, especially the older higher belts, that oh, you guys are just so insecure. You just don't. Man, first of all, a lot of us pay their dues already. A lot of us have actual lives outside of jujitsu. And if you're a young gun with nothing going on for your life and your whole identity is dependent on how well you do in sparring, first, that is sad. But next, see, it really just shows us that, man, this dude is insecure. This person is insecure. It is what it is. You can cry all about it and go, no, that's not true. Again. Okay, so before I make my rant a little bit too long, I'm just gonna stop it there. Next one. Let's bow and shake hands before training. This is your unofficial agreement where you go, hey brother, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure you're safe when you're training with me. And if, and this also happens, if your partner doesn't do that agreement, let's say he goes rough on you, he's really out to hurt you, it happens, man. At least now you know, oh, I cannot trust this guy. And one of the things that I love is how you do anything is how you do everything. So for me, I'm like, oh, okay. Now it means I can't trust you. So even outside of jiu-jitsu, I'm definitely gonna not trust you. Next, stop early so you don't get hurt. Sure, it happens. Normally, for me, if someone catches me in an arm lock, I don't wait to feel that hyperextension. I'm just going, ah, man, I got caught. Because you'd also rather spend more time learning prevention than escapes. So, like the saying that ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Basically, that's it. Also, at the same time, if you're the one who has the submission, please go slow. Don't yank it. Don't use speed. Don't use. And if you happen to roll with someone who's very stubborn, and just transition to something else. Later on, that guy's gonna get injured for sure, but at least it's not from you, because he's definitely gonna spin everything around and say it's your fault. So you'd rather be on the safer side. So just let go of the submission. Easy. Next one is next one, but the last one and very important one is really just stay humble, regardless of what happens in this market, and especially if you do well. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes the higher belt you're training with just isn't um, really on his game. Sometimes really just you're really at that point where you're really surpassing people who used to be better than you, as you should. But this is also where your character gets revealed. If you're the type of guy, and also if you're watching this and you have teammates like this, let's say it's not you, but you have teammates like this who loves to brag what they did to the higher belt, man, that guy is really, again, just really just insecure. It's someone that has no real positive impact on the team. Plus, it ruins the culture. You ruin the culture of respect. Because now they're gonna be like, oh, so, and guess what? You keep bragging that, oh, I was able to pass the black belt's guard. First of all, there's a big chance that the black belt was just getting so bored with your predictable passing and he wanted to work his side control escapes. And see, maybe your side control is better than your passing. So you don't know. So just stay humble. Appreciate the learning. Be happy if you did well. But if you keep bragging about it, man, no one loves a bragger. In the core, no one. No one go, oh man, I love this guy because he brags so much. Maybe in a funny, humorous way, maybe some. But more often than not, especially the real ones, the ones who have self-respect, the ones who have accomplished a lot of things in life, they're gonna be like, man, look at this guy full of ego, who has nothing going on for him except his jujitsu. You don't want to be that guy. So remember, just stay humble. These etiquette rules, if you can follow them, if you can avoid breaking any of these, then definitely you will be a likable and uh, a valued member of the community. And just like with any community, these things exist. And if you can't follow them, then just leave. Because if you don't leave, eventually you're going to be forced to leave anyways. So it's really up to you if you want to follow these things, or if you're too good, or no one can tell me what to do. I'm my own man. Then go ahead. Good luck with that. Okay? It's your choice. But if you want to be someone, especially if you really value the team you're a part of, then do these things, then you won't have any issues with them for years and decades to come. Because that's how we do it. That's how we eventually built Cobrina Manila, that is now Alliance Jiu Jitsu Manila. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned some stuff here. I know the video is a little bit long because that's how important etiquette is when it comes to your jiu-jitsu journey, and how far and how long you will stay in jiu-jitsu. So with that, I really appreciate it if you could like and share and subscribe. If you haven't yet, it would be awesome if you could subscribe to our channel. And the next part 3, is etiquette after jiu-jitsu training and outside of jiu-jitsu training. So you don't want to miss that. So remember to subscribe, and as always, just have fun, just stay safe, and let us train until we are 99, and I will see you on the next video. Oh,